Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trades Talk Tuesday. I am your host, Pop Culture Mechanic. Please call me Pop. Well, it's that time again. I'm going to start to talk about the skilled trades, but before we do that, I thought we'd take a look at some of the news around the industry and see what's going on out there. Usually you can tell how well the economy is doing by what you read in the news. And let's see what happens here. Number 1, China accuses Washington of wanting technology hegemony. Okay. What is this all about? Beijing, China's government accused Washington on Tuesday of pursuing technology hegemony following reports the United States might step up pressure on tech giant Huawei by blocking all access to American suppliers. The Biden administration is weighing further limiting the Chinese tech giant's ability to purchase essential components from U.S. suppliers, which could restrict Huawei's access to processor chips and other technology, according to a person familiar with the matter. The person was not authorized to comment on the sensitive matter and so spoke on the condition of anonymity. The company, which makes network equipment and smartphones since 2019, has been on the U.S. Commerce Department's entity list, comprising those subject to licensing requirement, but has been allowed to buy some less advanced components. Bloomberg News and the Financial Times first reported that the administration was weighing the move. Huawei Technologies Limited, China's first global tech brand, is at the center of a conflict between Washington and Beijing over technology and security. U.S. officials say Huawei is a security risk and might facilitate Chinese spying, an accusation the company denies. China is gravely concerned about the reports, said a foreign ministry spokeswoman, Mao Ning. She accused Washington of overstretching the concept of national security and abusing state power to suppress Chinese competitors. Oh, yeah, you're talking about abusing state power. This coming from China. Right. Like that place is so much better. Such practices are contrary to the principles of market economy and are blatant technological hegemony, Mao said. The White House and Commerce Department declined to comment about specific deliberations regarding Huawei. Working closely with our interagency export control partners at the Departments of Energy, Defense, and State, we continually assess our policies and regulations and communicate regularly with external stakeholders, the Commerce Department said in a statement. We do not comment on conversations with or deliberations about specific companies. Mao said Beijing would defend the legitimate rights of its companies, but gave no indication how the government might respond. Beijing has made similar declarations after past U.S. action against its companies, but often does nothing. The ban on sales of advanced U.S. processor chips and music maps and other services from Alphabet Inc.'s Google unit crippled Huawei's smartphone business. The company sold its low-end Honor smartphone brand to revive sales by separating it from the sanctions on its corporate parent. The Commerce Department agreed to grant export licenses to U.S. companies to allow them to sell less advanced chips and other technology to Huawei. That was deemed not to be a security risk. That followed complaints suppliers would lose billions of dollars in annual sales. The Biden administration is considering no longer granting such licenses, although no decision has been made, according to the person familiar with the deliberations. Huawei scrambled to remove U.S. components from its network and other products, and has launched new business lines serving factories, self-driving cars, and other industrial customers. The company hopes those are less vulnerable to U.S. pressure. Huawei says its business is starting to rebound. In 2020, we successfully pulled ourselves out of crisis mode, Eric Zhu, one of the 3 Huawei executives who takes turns as chairman, said in a December letter to employees, U.S. restrictions are now our new normal and we're back to business as usual. Last year's revenue was forecast to be little changed from 2021 at 636.9 billion yuan, or $91.6 billion, Zhu said. Well, I mean, the U.S. has the right. They don't want to sell this to what they consider a country that's not on the up and up, then They have that right. Chinese factory activity rebounds, adding to recovery signs. And hello, genitals. Good to see you. I'm just reading a little bit of industry news just to see what's going on around the manufacturing sector. It says here, Chinese factory activity rebounded in January from 3 months of contraction, adding to signs the world's second largest economy might be recovering from a painful slump, an official survey showed Tuesday. A monthly purchasing managers index issued by the Chinese Statistics Agency and an industry group rose to 50.1 on a 100-point scale, on which numbers above 50 show activity growing. That was an unusually large gain of 3.1 points from December's 47. China's economic growth sank to 2.9% over a year earlier in the final 3 months of 2022, but economists point to an increased investment and improved consumer spending as signs activity is recovering. Manufacturers have been hurt by lackluster U.S. and European demand for exports after central banks raised interest rates to fight inflation. Chinese consumer demand weakened following the COOF outbreaks and a downturn in the real estate industry. New orders, new export orders, factory activity, and employment improved in January, the National Bureau of Statistics and the China Federation of Logistics and Purchasing reported. That shows economic recovery momentum is relatively strong, economist Zhang Liqin said in a statement issued by the two groups. That is if you believe what they're going to tell you. I don't think the Chinese Communist Party will ever let them say that things are not going well in their country. Everything always has to be going great for them. Otherwise, it makes their government look bad. Here we go. General Motors to invest $650 million in Lithium Americas. This is interesting here. General Motors Company has signed a deal to invest $650 million in Lithium Americas Corporation, which is developing the Thacker Pass lithium project in Nevada. Under the agreement, GM will receive exclusive access to Phase 1 production from the mine through a binding supply agreement and a right of first offer on Phase 2 production. Lithium is a key component in batteries used by electric vehicles. Yes, lithium, and I think nickel and cobalt are in that as well. In the first tranche of the investment deal, GM spent $320 million for 15 million shares, or a 9.999% stake in Lithium Americas. The automaker will make a second investment worth $330 million in the company's U.S. business following a separation of its U.S. and Argentine businesses. Phase 1 production of Thacker Pass is expected to start in the second half of 2026. Geez, that's a long ways away. 3 years before they start to get production going. That's a ways away. What do we got here? Job creation a priority as Liberal caucus wraps up on anniversary of Freedom Convoy. Federal departments failed to spend $38 billion on promised program services last year. That if you want to get me angry, just start talking about how the federal government just fritters away money or doesn't even put it where it should go. I don't even know if I should read that. I'll just end up getting really angry. Lots of sound and fury on U.S. debt, but not crisis yet. Hey, they rhymed their little thing there, but yeah, U.S. debt, it's extremely high, and I don't see there's a way out of it, really. They're gonna have to do something rather than just keep printing money. What do we got here? So I usually do read the news a bit. That kind of lets everybody filter in that's going to be in here for the stream. So kind of my little, how I operate. Just kill time with a little bit of news. And then when more people arrive, then we get into the trades, talking about how to get into them. CN Rail earns $1.4 billion in the fourth quarter, but warns of rockier times ahead in 2023. That's good. I mean, I deal with CN Rail. They come and move our rail cars where I'm at right now. And sometimes they're on time, sometimes they're not on time. So, they could do a little better on their customer service end of things. Here's one. Tesla will invest $3.6 billion in Nevada truck factory expansion. Let's see what this says. Sparks, Nevada. Tesla said it intends to invest $3.6 billion to expand manufacturing capabilities in Nevada and is confident growing software-related profits, reflected in record net income reported Wednesday for the fourth quarter of last year, will keep margins higher than any other automaker. The company confirmed it plans to produce high volumes of semi-trucks and make enough cell batteries for 2 million light-duty vehicles annually in Nevada. Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo posted a photo on Twitter of himself and CEO Elon Musk late Tuesday after the newly elected Republican announced in his first State of the State address Monday night that Tesla has committed to a brand new manufacturing facility for electric trucks in northern Nevada. The project actually will expand an existing operation at the Truckee Reno Industrial Center about 20 miles east of Reno, Sparks, along Interstate 80. But the plan takes the company a step closer to accomplishing previously announced plans to ramp up Tesla semi-production to make 50,000 trucks in North America by 2024. Okay, well, I guess he's got till the end of 2024 to do that. But we'll see, 50,000 trucks, that's a lot. Full speed ahead for that production facility. The White House issued a statement trumpeting the plans on Tuesday as Musk wrapped up 3 hours of testimony defending himself in a class action lawsuit in a San Francisco federal court over his operation of Twitter, one of the 3 major corporations he owns, including Tesla and SpaceX. Really, he has to defend himself in a lawsuit over operating Twitter. My goodness, I haven't been paying attention to any of that. Musk's impulsive and sometimes inflammatory usage of Twitter took center stage as proceeding continued Wednesday in the lawsuit, alleging he misled Tesla shareholders. And why are you talking about this? This article is supposed to be about the manufacturing truck plant in Nevada. Who cares about Elon Musk and his lawsuit? Stop interjecting your stupid opinions and just give me the facts about what's going on with the plant in Nevada. Where does it say? All right. Mitch Landrieu, President Joe Biden's infrastructure chief, said on Tuesday, Tesla's additional investment in Nevada is proof of a continued manufacturing boom. Since Biden took office 2 years ago, he said the expansion would create 3,000 jobs in Nevada while promoting clean energy and strengthening U.S. security. I like how they say clean energy. What are you going to do with all those batteries when they're used up? You going to dump them in a landfill? Let them leach into the water table? And what are you going to do? Are you going to have a recycling facility to tear them all apart down to their base metals? I haven't heard anything about that yet. So you guys stop touting the clean energy, because it's not. Okay. Lombardo tweeted a photo late Tuesday of himself with Musk at Tesla's Gigafactory in the industrial park east of Reno Sparks, where it makes batteries for electric vehicles. This is an incredible investment in our state, Lombardo wrote. Elizabeth Ray, the governor's communications director, confirmed the photo's authenticity and clarified in an email to the Associated Press the new investment was an expansion of the existing space at the Truckee Reno Center. Tesla's statement on its blog site late Tuesday said that since 2014, the company has invested $6.2 billion in Nevada and built the 5.4 million square foot Gigafactory. We will be investing over $3.6 billion more to continue growing Gigafactory Nevada, adding 3,000 new team members and 2 new factories, the company said, adding that would include its first high-volume semi-factory. Tesla delivered its first electric semis to a PepsiCo facility in Nevada in December, more than 3 years after Musk said his company would start making the trucks. At a November 2017 event unveiling the Tesla Semi, Musk said production would begin in 2019, and the trucks would be able to follow each other autonomously in a convoy. But during Tesla's third quarter earnings conference call in October, he said the company's full self-driving system was not quite ready to be driverless. And I don't think they should do that either. You're going to put a lot of guys out of work, a lot of truck drivers. You know, maybe they can't drive 24 hours a day, but I would feel better having a truck driver behind the wheel rather than nothing, just having a computer do it. The truck has a range per charge of 500 miles when pulling an 82,000-pound load, Musk said. Oh, that's another thing, too. They're going to have to get that range. They're going to have to get that range way up there. Because 500 miles, that's not very far at all. I mean, yeah, you gotta get that better. Even if you're pulling 82,000 pounds, you gotta try to get that up to at least 1,000 miles, I would think. And that's what they want, to put people out of work. Sadly, sad but true. I mean, I'm disgusted by the whole thing. Like, don't let the machines take over the jobs you can do. It's not right. People need to be able to work. They don't need to be sedentary. The Austin, Texas maker of electric vehicles and solar panels said on Wednesday it earned $3.69 billion from October through December, or an adjusted $1.19 per share. That beats estimates of $1.13 that had been reduced by analysts, according to FactSet. The company's profit was 59% more than the same period a year ago. Revenue for the quarter was $24.32 billion, which fell short of the $24.67 billion. Yeah, oh no, it fell short by $320 million. No. You still made $24 billion, so. Musk said that despite price cuts of 20% on some vehicles announced earlier this month, demand for Tesla products is strong and sales are constrained by production. Of course they are. You will own nothing and be happy? No. I'm not of that mindset. I know that's what they keep saying, the WEF. These are unelected people, and why are the governments of the world listening to them? Why are you listening to the World Economic Forum and letting them tell you what to do? That is stupid. Stop it. You got to do what's best for your country, not what some numbskull says over in Europe. Montreal Smart Factory aims to demonstrate potential of warehouse automation. Once again, you can automate your warehouse, but you're going to need people to repair that stuff. It's not going to just fix itself. Toyota CEO Akio Toyoda to step aside, become chairman. Sawmill permanently closing as Canfor restructures BC operations. This is all Canada news, by the way, for those of you in the US. It's all about power and greed. Elon is not on the right side, no matter how much people simp for him. America! Yes. I think it's... when it comes down to it, he's a businessman. His job is to make money, and he just happens to be people call him a genius. He might be. He did come up with SpaceX and all that, so he's doing things, but sometimes I don't think he's doing the right things. I saw him, I think I watched a YouTube short about him, and he was telling people he didn't lose money, but he invested it in a voice AI so he could make himself sound like anyone. You can't tell me that's dangerous. Like, people think it's funny, but it's like, no, you can use that for nefarious purposes, and then people will think, it all goes into the deep fakes and everything like that. So I don't think AI is the way to go, that's for sure. Let's check out another place here. This is maintenance and engineering. And we'll see what they got. If there's anything interesting here, usually I have a look and see. Knee and elbow protection, that's important. You're going to get into the trades, you're going to learn all about using PPE, which is personal protective equipment, and everything you need, from like hard hats to safety glasses to earplugs to respiratory protection, like protecting with dust masks and such, and overall gloves and body protection with coveralls and boots. What do we got here? GoTech Trading has a comprehensive range of knee and elbow protection to suit every application. Ergonomic, comfortable fit, reliable protection, tough and hard wearing. Yeah, all great. So those look like a set of knee pads. So when you're out there, and I've learned this too, you got to take care of your knees. A lot of jobs will have you crawling around on them, and hard concrete on your knees will ruin them. So by the time you're in your 40s, you'll be hobbling around wondering why you can't stand up straight or you can't walk or run or anything. So it's important. Always wear your personal protective equipment. It's there to help you at that moment, but it's also will help you further down the road in your life. So instead of being mangled and hurting when you're older, you will be able to stand up straight, walk without pain, do all those things you can do when you're older. And you'll appreciate it, because once you're retired and you're not working anymore, you'll want to get out there and do things. And it's a lot easier to do things when you're able-bodied than if you are hobbling around with a cane or a set of crutches. So always use your personal protective equipment. It's very important. What else we got here? More major airport contacts, gas and leak detection. So gas and leak detection, you pretty much use some liquid or such to spray on joints of connections, and to see if there's any air coming, or if it makes bubbles, then you know that it's got an air leak. There's some kind of vapor coming out of that. So it's important, once again, because this could be a poisonous gas, or it could be something that will remove the breathable air. It'll like asphyxiate you. So you have to make sure that connections for pipes and other gases or vapors or liquids, make sure that there is no leaks there. It will save your life. It's the first time I've been on this website, so I'm not quite sure what else they got here. All right, let's get into it here. So I've just looked around on the internet here and tried to find what I could see to show everyone what kind of list there are for the trades. So these ones say popular trades. You've got carpentry, so you like framing, you building with wood, being a finished carpenter, which is someone that will do cabinetry and stuff like that and wouldn't have to work outside in all the elements. And there's electrician. So you can either be commercial, residential, or industrial electrician. So residential means you're doing houses that are getting built, and commercial is you're doing stores. And then industrial is when you work at a plant site or a facility that's on the industrial side. And that one is probably the toughest one for a lot of electricians to do, because most of them know commercial and residential. So when they come to industrial, it's a lot of troubleshooting they have to learn, and the dealing with high voltages. So sometimes you'll be dealing with up to 25,000 volts, and that's usually in a switch yard. And you have to wear special equipment, an arc flash suit, just so that you can, and it's usually just flipping a switch. But you need to get that much protective equipment on, because any leap, any jump that the electricity makes will just kill you instantly. There won't be anything left. Welder, level C. Okay, yeah, so there's A, B, and C levels. C is like the first. Welding isn't bad. It's a lot of head down and just giver. Especially if you're a production welder, you'll have a large spool of wire, and you'll just be using that all shift to put the pieces together depending on where you're working at. And heavy gauge material is a lot easier to weld than the thin stuff. You can always tell a good welder if he can weld very thin material together without putting holes in it. A cement mason. So that's obviously you're going to be doing cement concrete floors and such. That's a fine art in itself of getting all the bubbles out of the concrete and smoothing it down and making it nice, or putting contours in it or anything like that so that it has some grip to it. It's Isaac Clarke. Hey, Underground. David, how you doing? Just showing the different kinds of trades that are out there. So, geothermal heating, that's a good one to get into if you're in an area that has that sort of thing. I don't know around here, but that would be a good one to get into, as more people want to turn to alternative ways of heating their houses and such. So, heavy equipment operator. This is where you're operating like loaders and skid steers and bulldozers and excavators. So that's another good one to get into if you don't mind operating equipment, If you're like me, you pretend that it's like you're operating a mech from one of those anime shows. So it gives you a little bit of a smile on your face as you're operating. Takes away some of the boredom, because it can get pretty dull, but the progress they've made with the progress they've made with all the bells and whistles you can get on machinery now, whereas it used to be just loud, cold, hollow sounding machine. Now you get into them, nice and comfy, air conditioning, heated, you get a radio. It's just so comfortable, and the thing is whisper quiet. It's got a nice quiet engine on there. So we've really gone into the luxury of the heavy equipment, which is good because it's tough on your body when you get thrown around by when you're operating. It's hard on you, and you feel it at the end of the day. Rig technician. I'm not sure what a rig technician is. Whether they're talking about. I'll click on it and see what it says. Okay, so rig technician is for to show the student how to operate oil and gas drilling rigs. Good if you're in oil country, because there's a lot of it's a long hours, I'm sure, and it's good pay though. You can be a rig technician, boiler maker. Teach a student how to use blueprints and other plans to construct, install, and repair boilers, tanks, and other large containers that hold liquids and gases. Boilers are used to contain everything from steam, an electric power plant, to oil, chemicals, and other liquids that we use daily. So there you go. Being a boiler maker is all right. Pipe fitter. Work on pipelines and such. Lots of welding. One of your foremen was a rig guy, you think? Worked on a boat? Or an oil platform? Would that be more correct to say that? Yeah, pipe fitter. You're going to be putting a lot of pipe together. Yeah. You'll ask them. There you go. Yeah, they use blueprints, project specifications to construct and repair piping systems that carry water, steam, chemicals, and fuel. Steam fitters are typically pipe fitters who specialize in piping systems that move liquids and gases under high pressure. Yeah, I've never gotten into or worked at a plant with any steam fittings or anything like that, and I don't think I want to. That's hot stuff. Like, you're getting burned real bad when you're dealing with steam. A formwork technician? I think this is for building forms for concrete, but we'll see. Formwork technician will teach a student how to build footing, column, and wall forms, suspended slab forms and slab-on-grade forms, and concrete stair forms, and uses specialized forming methods for all types of civil, commercial, industrial, institutional, and residential construction and renovation. Usually takes 18 months. Well, that's pretty good. And welcome back, Opa. Just going through a little bit of the what's out there as far as different trades. Collision repair technician, you get a lot of work in the wintertime, especially if it snows there. Then you're repairing cars, or the bodies of cars. How to prepare, review motor vehicle repair estimate reports, determine what needs to be fixed. The automotive collision repair technician student will also learn how to hammer out dents, buckles, and other defects, remove damaged fenders, panels, grills, and straighten bent frames. There you go. Crane operator. I thought about doing this one. Nice and squeaky clean. Also, your lungs feel like breathed in water after your run. Ooh. The meme wars are underway. Uh-oh. Crane operator is good. How to operate any hoisting device or structure incorporating a power-driven drum and wire rope that is designed for raising, lowering, or moving material. And it's only a 3-year apprenticeship. So that's good. It's not 4 like a lot of them are. Okay, so under automotive, aircraft, or mechanics, there's appliance service technician, marine engine mechanic, automotive collision repair technician. Construction trades, you can be a carpenter, electrician, mason, plumber, sheet metal. Industrial trades and operators, boilermakers, hydraulic crane operator, mobile crane operator, pipe fitter, welder level C. So I have my mobile crane. Here where I'm at, you're allowed to operate a crane up to 8.5 tons. So it's just a small wheeled crane, and it helps out. It's such a I can't express to you that it's such a valuable tool to use. It makes the job so much better, so much easier when you have to grab motors, gearboxes, things up high in the air, and you have this crane that you can use. It's so much better. Makes your life easier. Technicians. Agricultural equipment technician, marine repair technician, power line technicians, rail car technicians. Rail car technician. Okay. So if you look around wherever you live, you should find a place where they repair rail cars. We have one around where I am. And yeah, these guys are always busy. Always busy. You always see, because rail cars need to go in for what's called recertification every 10 years. And I think they need a valve change out every 5 years. So these guys are busy. They're changing the valves, they're rebuilding them, they're putting them on the car, they're recertifying it for the next year, they're painting them, they're putting stencils on. Just making it so that the lifespan of that car, which is about 50 years, I believe. So 50 years for the life of a tank car, and then after that, it has to be scrapped. So I know we're sending out a few of our rail cars right now to get recertified, because it's in this year. It has to be done. So it's up to me to make sure that we have valves that can go on there that are in date, because if they can't have a valve go on it that is not within a specified date. I think 6 months is the amount of time it's allowed to sit on the shelf, but then it has to be put on the rail car. And there's miscellaneous ones: baker, cooking, cosmetologist, funeral director, furniture design, a grip, a locksmith, meat cutter, painter and decorator, sprinkler system installer, and utility arborist. So those are just some of the... And this site here, called studentscholarships.org, the largest collection of scholarships on the web. If you can, do anything you can to get some kind of scholarship. Apply, because if you don't apply, that means you're not even trying. And sometimes scholarships go without being handed out because nobody applies for them. So yeah, it's the best thing you can try to do. Sprinkler installation, a fun job to be sure. Yeah, that's all with when you're doing like I think it's a fire technician. At least up here it is. But yeah, you'll be able to sprinkler system installer. Install, repair fire protection sprinkler systems in a variety of buildings to learn how to work with piping, tubing, accessories, and connections. It's they're in demand too because you have to get your fire extinguishers checked every year. And you also have to get your fire system checked every year. So you're always going to be going around to different places to do those checks for them. So there'll always be work for you to do. And people are always buying more fire extinguishers, or if they're expanding, they're going to need more piping for their fire suppression. And just for kicks, I was just looking up trade schools in the USA. And there's this question, does America have trade schools? They call them vocational colleges. A U.S. vocational college, also known as a trade school in the USA, gives students the option to enroll in a 2-year vocational training program, which focuses on job-specific training, preparing you to enter the workforce with international training in the USA. So that's another way to do it. You don't have to go to an employer and try to get a trade that way. If you show up with the knowledge of going to a vocational college or trade school, they might look on you a little more favorably and be like, oh, they already have the training. They might know what they're doing. So they would be more willing to give you a chance. Which is good because right now there is a shortage of tradespeople in the world. I can't stress enough how much I've said that the past couple of streams. The shortage is unbelievable. It's going to get to the point where they're going to want to hang on to their older tradesmen and not let them retire or not want them to retire. They have to do something. You have to bring in more fresh and young students that are willing to learn, and that way they will be able to learn from the older tradesmen before they all leave. Because nothing is worse than trying to teach yourself when you're out there. You should have a little bit of guidance. That's what I like to think anyway. So depending on what state you live in, there is a lot of them out there. Just from what I can see here in the eastern United States. Although I don't know why isn't Tulsa in Oklahoma? And it looks like it's over here in Florida. I guess there could be a Tulsa, Florida, but that's just my terrible U.S. geography showing. Yeah, is there any... Come on, update. There's got to be more than that. What was my geography? I said my U.S. geography is poor. Tulsa, I guess there's a Tulsa, Florida, and a Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's what it was, Rupa. Canadians? Come on now. Do you know where Saskatchewan is? Okay, there we go. Now they're showing up a little more. Across the great United States. Tulsa is Oklahoma, and there is a Tulsa, Florida. Okay, thank you, Jenna. You believe there are 34 Springfields in the U.S.? You guys can't even come up with an original name, for God's sake. What do we got here? Okay, there you go. the Renton Technical College, Charter College, Perry Technical Institute. These are in Washington State. The Tech Academy. You do know where Saskatchewan is? And you follow too much hockey? Fun fact, Saskatchewan doesn't have an NHL team, though. Yeah, and WUPA was in St. Louis. There you go. There's one. St. Louis, American Trade School. Right there. Oh, there's a lot of them. Look at that. Lewis and Clark Career Center. Midwest Institute. American Trade School. Calc, Institute of Technology. Oh, look at you busting out WHL stuff. Saskatoon Blades, Regina Pats. Yeah, I knew I liked you for a reason. When you can start naming, AHL and WHL teams there, you got my respect. You've heard of the Lewis and Clark Career Center? Okay. State Technical College of Missouri. So yeah, I know you're in that area. Is David still around? Which state is he at? The Underground. You can see your house from here? Yeah. Hey, look. Walk outside and wave. Hey, there you are. Well, I know Blaine from Blaine's Escape Corner is in Washington State. And there's a bunch there. Like, look at all those. There shouldn't be any excuse for people not being able to get to a trade school. And Serranos is in Oregon, but I don't know where. But they've got some too. And then Michael from one of the chats I was in there, he's in California somewhere. Looks like Caltrade welding schools. Like, there you go. So yeah, there is a lot in every state. No matter where you live, you're bound to find something, a place to go, and then you can look up and see how much it's going to cost you. Guaranteed it's not going to cost you as much as university or regular academic college. Georgia? Okay, Georgia. There. Hey, look at that. I found it. Wow. South Georgia Technical College. There's a bunch right in this area here. Georgia Trade School. West Georgia Technical College. The Coweta Campus. Career Institute. Man, there's a bunch. Maxwell High School of Technology, Javelin Technical Training Center. What's this? USA Beauty Academy. All right, here we go. What's this here? Gwinnett College, Art Institute, Cambridge College of Health. That's Atlanta. We doesn't goes there. Okay, I have no idea that we doesn't goes there. No. Okay. Get a trade and catch a bullet. Yeah, because I know Atlanta's the capital of Georgia. But there's there's Macon, Georgia. There, it's got Central. Oh, why did it move? Come on. Central Georgia Technical College. There we go. South Georgia Technical College. You've heard about Atlanta, some rough spots, and you say that as a resident of the murder capital of the U.S.? Yikes. Also, their traffic is terrible. Murder capital? I thought that was Chicago, Whoopa. I always hear things about Chicago, where I live. Okay. So anyways, my point is, no matter where you are, in what state, there is a trade school nearby. And you have a computer, because obviously you wouldn't be listening to me if you didn't have a computer. So get on your computer, go to the closest one to you, or the one that you like. Look up and see what it has for offerings of trades to learn, and see how much it is. And guaranteed it will not be that expensive. You will not have any student debt when you're done, and you will have a high-paying job that you can take with you into the future. Okay. Chicago has more gun violence and it's bigger. It's still pretty bad, but St. Louis has more murders. Oh. Man. That sucks, man. Stay safe, everybody. Okay, I think that is enough of preaching about where to go to find your trade. Next up, we'll just go like this. Oh, no, gotta do this and this. I captured the wrong one. Didn't want that. Hang on, let's see if we can. There we go. Okay. Now it's show and tell time. So what I'd like to do now is when I'm on the job, I take lots of pictures, either to help me out for cataloging, and so I can have at my fingertips the information I need about any piece of equipment. But I also take pictures of things that have broken down and how they've broken, just so that I have a history and I can look back on that machine to see what has happened in the past. This that you're looking at right now is an actuator for a valve. If you don't know what that is, so a valve just opens and closes and allows the fluid to flow through. An actuator sits on top of that valve and does it automatically. So instead of you having to go up there and crank the hand wheel or move the lever, an actuator, which will be either electrical or air operated, does it for you at the push of a button. You push a button, usually on a computer screen, and the actuator moves the valve into an open or closed position. Just so you know. This one, this isn't the best picture of it, but the bolts inside this have sheared off. So this actuator will no longer move this valve. So I was called to the scene because, I'm the mechanic. I'm the guy that's on site. Excuse me. And they're like, this thing's not opening and it's not closing. I'm like, all right, I'll go have a look. So I went down there and I saw this. So these are the ones that came out and they pretty much fell out. These bolts are supposed to be about twice as long as they are now. So that thing just sheared those bolts off like nothing. And there's the indicator piece. This goes on there and it gets bolted on, and it just shows, this little arrow here shows the position it is in, whether it's opened or closed. It'll show which way the valve is. And I don't know if you can see that, but that's probably the best shot you're going to get right there. That is the piece of bolt broken off inside. So each one of these, and I think there's 8 of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think there's 8, and each one of them has a piece of the bolt broken off inside. So, how do I get those out of there? This was my dilemma. I'm like, how am I going to get those out of there? I just have to So what I did is, and you can see on this side right here, this is this is cast right into the side of the valve, and it shows that when the arrow is pointing here, this is open. So right now, this valve is shut. And hello, Mike from Pacific 414. Just showing the what happens when the bolts in an actuator shear off, and an actuator just controls this valve to open or close it. But when the bolts get sheared off, this is what you have to do. So once I got all the these pieces out of here, and like I say, these bolts are about twice as long. They should be twice as long as you see here. So this, and then I had to take pictures of, for cataloging purposes, the valve size. So it's a 12-inch diameter valve. Class 600 is the flanges on it, how much pressure they can take. And this is what I use to make sure that I get everything, all the information in order to order a new one. This that we're looking at right now is the actuator. So at this end, you can control the turning of the valve. And obviously you get the information from here, how much torque it has, what kind of, the type it is, size, all that good stuff. Because when you're telling a guy you need parts, you better have all the information with you. Otherwise, you look very foolish. And it's all about, you try to be the best tradesman you can be, which is always having more information on you. Better to have too much information than not enough. And yes, just getting more information. I think the gear ratio here, 160 to 1. So that's quite a high ratio. It should be able to handle it. And it, for the most part, it did, but I still think they undersized it. I think we should have had bigger actuator on here. Now, that's a good nameplate pick. All flash. Yeah, this one's for you, Godzillionaire. There you go. I want to read that. But I took it again. See? I know better. And there, you can see I had to get new bolts, and I could only put 6 out of the 8 in. Because these other 2, I could not for the life of me get those broken bolts out of there. Not even with drilling. So these other ones, I was quite fortunate. I had a hammer and a drift, and they weren't locked into place in the thread. So I was able to just use the hammer and the little drift and just tap it and back them out and get them with a magnet and pulled those pieces out. But these other 2 here, this one and this one, just couldn't do it. But I thought, well, 6 will have to do. These guys will have to just make sure they keep checking on these to make sure they haven't backed out. And as you can see here, the arrow is pointing at that it's open now, rather than down here where it shows that it's closed. So that was quite the job taking that on. That was not fun at all. But you can see this actuator, and you can see how big behind it the valve is. That is a large valve. You are not lifting that up by hand. You need a crane to lift that valve up and hold it in place. So that was if I couldn't get this actuator going, that was their next step, was to replace the entire valve and actuator. Yeah, there you go. So you can see the actuator here. This is the electrical going to it. This is the control that you look at here. And it takes quite a bit to turn that valve. Once more, some more pictures of tags. Godzillionaire, I love these. Okay, funny story. So, this is a storage tank for, how can I put it? For biosolids, which is solid human waste, if you get my drift. So, I think the guys had a little bit of trouble with one of the sensors on here reading the level. So there's two of these tanks. They are quite large. We post centrifuge, Godzillionaire. So it's very concentrated and it's thick. So yes, biosolids is human waste that goes down the toilet and gets treated and ends up here. And so we have two of these, and they're big enough that they can fit semi-trucks underneath to load them up. So there's the other one. Now this is what happens when they lose sight of their instrumentation that tells them how much is in the tank. So as you can see, they filled it up so much that it came shooting out the top. I shouldn't say shooting, but it probably worked its way out the top cover. And then fell down to the... Haha! Yes, Godzilla, that's a crappy job. But yes, it came out the top. And it hit the roof below. And it just kept coming out. And it made a big mess. And I had to get a few shots of it because, with flash, without flash. And I got down and I saw what it was like on the roof below. And it's like, you know what? You guys are going to need to get some shovels or something that can reach up there and pull that all down, because that's just extra weight on the roof that you did not need. You can smell this picture. But yeah, there we are. That's the 100% blown up right there. I had to go down there and see because the operators said, hey, something's going on down there. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll go have a look. And yeah, there it is. They just overloaded the tank. It came out the top, landed on the first part of the silo, and then boom, onto the roof of the silo building. And there you go. So that, I didn't have to have anything to do with that. I'm in maintenance. I'm repairing stuff. I'm not the guy getting the shovel and cleaning this up. So I'm not even the guy that has to repair the instrument there. That's instrumentation technician. That's not me either. So also in this same building, this was how they controlled the flow of air inside and out. You got yourself your fan here. And believe it or not, I had to squeeze inside this thing to get to the other side, because right there you can see there's a bearing with a grease nipple on it. On the other side, there is no access. So I have to crawl inside this thing. When it's locked out, obviously, you lock it out, make sure there's no power to it. Then you climb inside, and then you go around to the other side, and you check the bearing, and you grease it, and then you come out again. So that's not the most fun thing to do, especially a guy. I'm only about, I don't know, 5'10", 180 pounds. But climbing in there, man, it was a squeeze. You had to really suck it in. Nope, didn't qualify as confined space work, Godzillionaire. Then again, I don't know if management even known that we were climbing inside. I swear I told them we were, but they didn't seem to think that was classified as a confined space. I wanted them to let me cut a hole in the other side anyway, so I could access it a bit easier. But I left before that happened. Yeah, there's another shot of it, just to show you how narrow that is. There's the other side of it. So right here is a giant I-beam. And right here on this side here would be where that other bearing is, around here somewhere. But I would have to cut a hole in here and then climb back in here. So this is like the absolute most maintenance unfriendly thing around in that place. You really didn't want to get put on this job too many times. Yeah, there's another shot of it. You can see there's no access hatch there at all. So I was like, hey, can't we just cut an access hatch in there and then make it so you don't even have to climb inside anymore? But you can see how narrow it is. Like just getting there is just such a hellish time. There's another shot of it. You can see the ductwork. So there's the opening there. There's the ductwork. And there's that I-beam. So you got to crawl in there. It's not a fun job. And then looking across it, you know, it's only about this wide, 5 feet wide, I guess. But yeah, there is no easy access. There's a better shot of it to show you how narrow it is. Yeah, that was pretty ugly. In the same building, we had hydraulics. And it was pointed out to me that there was a leak. I'm like, okay, well, we got to find the leak because we can't have the hydraulics leaking all over, making a mess. So I found these pieces here. I tried to troubleshoot where the leak was coming from. It was this is where they came out of, these pieces here, these spool pieces came out of here. At least I think so. It's been a while. It's 2021. Okay. And I was looking at this piece here and it's like, oh, what's this? Broken. That's either a backup ring or an O-ring as well, a double O-ring. But I believe that was the cause of all the trouble of having it wasn't a big leak. It was just a very small leak, but still, just that little bit, having that piece cut out of there was causing a lot of the trouble. So once I found a replacement ring, I was able to get it back up and running. And without a leak anymore. So that was a relief. It's always nice when you can troubleshoot something and find the solution for it. Troubleshoot it, find out what's wrong, repair it, and put it back into operating condition. Because then you know you've done your job. So yeah. Just such a small part can cause so much trouble. And you can see pieces of the old one there. Pieces of the old worn out. And it's usually something that's usually happens on installation. So anytime that a O-ring or a gasket gets ripped or torn or cut, it's 90% of the time, 90% I'm going to say is because of installation. Either the tech putting it in isn't quite careful enough. Maybe they didn't put on any O-ring grease just to help it along so that it rolls into place nicely or slides into place. It's just stuff like that. So you have to be mindful when you're putting these things together that you're careful and make sure it's got enough grease on it or O-ring grease, anything like that to help the assembly go a lot smoother. That's why you love European designs that require you to pre-stretch the O-ring just to get it on the shaft. Oh, okay. European designs are okay. Some are pretty clever, and some infuriate me to no end. The European Euro drive that you can't change the drive gear because it's cut right into the shaft of the motor. Like, there's no taking the gear off and replacing it. You got to replace the whole damn motor. That's annoying. Clever isn't the word you'd use for it. Yeah, well, some designs are, but then sometimes I don't know why they do the things they do. But yeah, that is that part. Talking gearboxes, yep. The Euro drive, the gearboxes and all that, they have the integrated gear. It's like milled right out of the shaft of the motor, and it's like, why would you do that? Like, I can't even change this gear without changing the whole motor out. I know places should have spare motors, but it's just dumb. For a small gear, nope, you got to buy a whole motor. I think that's all the pictures I got of this area. Hail to you, CRC. Good to see you. We're just showing some of the guys here and girls about this building that was storage silos for human waste and what can happen. And the first one was these bolts snapped off. There's Whoopa. He's back now. And I had to get these bolts out of these holes in order for this actuator to work. And there they are there. They're about half as long as they should be, because they all got snapped off in that actuator. And there they are. After I only got 6 out of 8 of them, so, more than half. Those other 2 I couldn't get out. There was just no getting those out of there. So had to just make do with 6 brand new bolts, and we got the actuator to work again. So that was back in 2019. So I don't know if it's what's happened to this day, but I don't work there anymore. So, and yeah, there's this one. This'll get you. These are the silos that hold the human waste. It's concentrated human waste. It's just come out of the centrifuges, and it's all thick. And it came out. They didn't watch their tank levels, and they overfilled the tank, and it went out the top and down and onto the roof below it. So now you're putting extra weight on that roof. And so I think they had to get a bunch of guys tied off and some shovels, and they had to shovel it into a loader bucket or a truck off of the roof. So fun times for those guys. I'm glad I didn't have to have any part of that. A poo fest? Yeah, I'd say so. Or as they call it, a poonami. And then I got down there and I took pictures just to sort of see. You always catalog all the things that go wrong, because you never know when it'll come in handy for explaining to people. Yeah, the old poonami. And then I was just showing them how hard it was to get into the makeup air unit. Climbing inside this thing, just so I could grease a bearing. But I did it. And how difficult it was. Just not maintenance friendly at all. And then the hydraulic leak, having to try to fix that just for a simple O-ring. I'm a brave man. Yeah. It's it wasn't all poo all the time, but like I say, this one was hydraulically. This thing is, as you can see, it's a broken ring on here. So once we replaced the ring, I think everything was back in shape here, and hydraulics weren't leaking anymore. So that's always good, be able to do that. Scary thing about hydraulics is those things run at like 3,000 psi. Yes, they sure do. We are taught in school, do not put your hand on a hydraulic hose. First of all, if there's a pinhole, a leak in that, you will not see it. And secondly, it will slice you and give you a high pressure oil injection. So if you ever get a high pressure oil injection, first thing you have to do is run to the hospital, because they will fillet wherever it is. If it's in your hand, they will fillet your hand with a knife and clean all the oil out of your tissues, because that oil will eat your tissue. And yeah, you know where it's at, Godzillionaire. Pinhole leak can fatally poison you. Of course it can. So you have to if anything like that happens, you have to go to the hospital right away. They will you tell them it's an injection injury, and they will cut you open, clean it out, and bandage you up. And yeah, it's very ugly. And if you're faint of heart or you don't have a strong stomach, don't look up injection injury. It's not nice. But yes, we were always taught, don't touch them. Use a piece of cardboard or a piece of wood if you think there's a leak. That way, let it hit the wood or the cardboard rather than hitting your hand. Even with gloves on, it's going to go right through. It's 3,000 psi. It's unbelievably high pressure. That goes for anything, whether it's mobile equipment or stationary. You have to be careful out there. It's not something to be toyed around with. So yeah, I'm happy to say I've never had to experience one of those. I did know a fella that did an injection injury with, believe it or not, a paint gun. So it was a high pressure, low volume paint gun, and I think he was changing the tip on it or cleaning the tip, and he hit the thing and it shot it right into his hand, and off to the hospital he went. And same thing, they had to clean him out. But it was paint and paint thinner that they were cleaning out this time. But still, they had to do the same thing. It's an injection injury. So, cut his hand open, clean him out. Like a laser cutting into you, not fun. You knew a guy that had that happen too. There you go. Yeah, there's got to be at least somebody people know that it had some kind of an accident like that. It's definitely not something you want to see or experience ever. Seeing people get industrial accidents happen to people, that's not fun at all. It's not something that I want to ever experience. Let's see here. Thought I had some other ones. What's this from? Yeah. Yeah, that one. Nope. I'm just looking through some of the other ones. Here's another one here. Just the stuff that happens. This O-ring on this hydraulic connection. You can see it. It's flat. It's been flattened. It's been crushed. It's deformed. And a piece of it's been ripped out of there. So it's just a matter of finding a new one. Something that's round, has been crushed, is in one piece. And you have to make sure the hardness. This is something that I knew that I had learned. It's called the durometer reading. And it is how hard your O-ring is. So it can put up with the high pressures that come from hydraulics. So that's quite the lesson learned. Durometer reading. Yeah, a little bit of we were talking about earlier about fire sprinkler technician. There you go. This is a part of a fire sprinkler. And it has to be serviced every time, every year. But you're going to be in places that aren't that clean. So be ready for that. As you can see, just a lot of dust, dirt. I don't know why that's in the red, but that doesn't look good. But yes, that is that is fire sprinkler. I think we had water leaking out of that, which is why we had to call people in. So I don't know who's seen this the last time, but when you have a lot of material in your pipes and it doesn't get cleaned out enough, this is what happens. This is the buildup you get. So I got called over. They told me that no matter how much they cranked the pump up to full speed, it just couldn't pump as much as they needed. I'm like, okay. So we took this piece off. This is the piece. Obviously, this is the new part that we cut, that my welder cut and welded in place. A brand new piece, because the old piece looked like this. And it's hard to clean that stuff out. That is a mixture of polymer, water, and it's probably just polymer and water. Polymer is what they use to cling to the poo to make it settle to the bottom. And yeah, so it gets filled up like that. And there's not much you can do. So yes, that is. But when you have a good welder, he can cut out the piece that's no good, put in a fresh one, and weld it all back up so that the flange will line up perfectly where you took it out of. And that is how you do that. Moving along. That's pretty dark. There we go. So, funny story here. The operators were like, we're not getting any water. We're not getting any flow into the centrifuge. So I went up to have a look. You know, this is one of the things that would irritate me to no end, is being called to a job that can be easily remedied by an operator doing their job. So I found the valve closed. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I opened it and I said, how's that? And they said, yeah, it works. What'd you do? How'd you fix it? I said, yeah, I opened a valve. So hang your head in shame. Durr, valve closed. Yeah. Oh man, you can't imagine a lot. Oh, just getting called on frivolous calls. Hey, can you drop what you're doing? Come here and check this out. Yeah, okay. Do that. Drop what I'm doing. Go over. Have a look. Yep. Here you go. A quick fix, but it's annoying as hell. There's another actuator. This one is live, as you can see. It's got a digital indicator there. It should have just given a super expansive definition with fake terms thrown in just to sound fancy. Oh, yeah. Make yourself out to be the hero. Oh, you should have seen what I had to do. Oh, man, I had to take this whole thing apart. It's crazy. I had to do this and go there, and I needed 3 guys to hold it up while I was doing this, and we finally got it done. I think we're going to have to charge overtime. Yeah, we use the flux capacitor. We bypass the main compressor with a manual override of the biflow, and yeah, we had to engineer this the flammerstammer, and then get that muffler bearing and shoot it over with some blinker fluid. Oh man, it was just terrible. There's a better shot. So these things will have a digital readout, and they'll show you when they're. We can turn that, can't we? Yeah. There we go. Okay, well that's right side up. But what about that? So I think that says. Oh no. Okay, Okay, well it's not showing up proper. I can't tell if that says 9% or 2%. Anyways, it's closed. It's showing you on the digital display that this is closed, and these are the controls you use. You can turn it open and closed on the left-hand side one, and then I believe this one is manual and automatic. So you switch to automatic, the guy at the computer can do it, or you switch it to manual, and then you can just flip this one here, and it will change position. So pretty neat. I can't remember why I was taking pictures for this, but there's also manual control. Hold this lever, turn the wheel, and you can make that valve move just with sheer manual power. And there it is. There's a long shot of it. It's right there. It's a 12-inch diameter pipe, and that's where it would get pushed. It would push all the human waste to those silo buildings for storage. You could also push this all around. Down south, you refer to that as manual labor? I gotcha. Always catalog what you're doing. So I needed to know who made this valve and what the part number was on it. So you always take your camera with you. I didn't have a phone. I used an actual camera. Because they said no phones allowed in the plant. It's like, well, this isn't a phone, it's just a camera. So always cataloging everything. And I took a picture of all the junk that was caught in this strainer for the pump. So they came to me and they're like, this pump isn't pumping very well. I'm like, okay. So I went over, pulled the strainer out of the hole, which is right here. That's the hole it was in. And I pulled out all this junk out of it. Just all sorts of different garbage. You just saw the NACE on the valve. Yeah, NACE. So where I'm at right now is NACE. I have to be NACE certified because of sour gas. This is a mess. This is what happens when you have a spill. This is all human waste that is leaked out of that tank. Gotta have NACE for H2S. Yes, Godzillionaire. At where I'm at right now, we make H2S on purpose. It is part of our process. So believe it or not, and it really surprises people, but we make it on purpose to send to other companies, and they use it in their industrial processes. This is all human waste down here. This is poo. And you use a snow shovel to move it around. And you can see we have a pump, which, because there's a lot of liquid, because the guys would try to thin it out with water. So they add lots of water and try to pump it out that way. On this side too, this machine is a hydraulic pump. It's a hydraulically driven pump. It pulls the solid poo in the top and pushes it out the bottom, and then pulls it in the bottom and pushes out the top. So it goes back and forth, back and forth. It just reciprocates back and forth. And it's quite a neat machine. This is something that it constantly works, and it pushes this stuff through that large 12-inch diameter pipe. And it's an excellent machine. When it's working, it's excellent. When it's having a hard time, then yeah, it's breaking down, and something that I had to work on quite a bit. But yeah, there we go. Hope that was a fun little trip for you guys, seeing some of this stuff here. It's neat to me. I'm glad I got to experience it and live it, and able to take pictures during my travels, repairing equipment, what's involved. And yes, don't forget, there we go. Oh, did I? Oh, no, I didn't close that up. Oh, why is that open? There we go. Yeah, don't forget. Always have a look for your... Where'd my mouse go? There we go. Phew. Don't forget. Look around where you live. There's trade schools everywhere, no matter where you're at. As we saw earlier, I looked at the map of the US. I'm assuming most of everyone here is from the US, so this is where you go and look. Wherever you are, there's going to be a trade school nearby. You're always going to find something. So try to spread the word to everyone. If they don't know what they want to do for a job in life, just suggest, hey, look, go here and look at all the trades there are. You know, look at these. There's so much of them. You know, you can specialize. You can be a diesel engine mechanic, elevator mechanic, a marine engine mechanic. You can be a parts person. That's important. Refrigeration, air conditioning. If you work in HVAC, you are going to work in the winter and you're going to work in the summer. People have to be cool in the summer and they want to be warm in the winter. So that job, you're pretty much going almost all year round. Things happen in the wintertime. People, I've had the experience myself. Furnace went out on the coldest day of the year, and the pipes froze up in the house. So we had to call an HVAC guy, and he had to replace a part, and he got the furnace up and going that night. And the pipes didn't burst, thankfully. They were okay. And there you go. And obviously you pay a premium for that, but people need heat in the wintertime. And in the summertime, you need your AC. And people are going to call on those guys to help repair their AC if it's not working at all. And it's not just homeowners, it's businesses as well. The businesses, they need heat, they need cooling. We have our own HVAC guy. He comes out, he takes care of all that. You just open a window. Not now, I hope. I know where you're at. It's you're about the same temperature I am, so it's not nice out. I don't like the cold. But yeah, summertime when we had that heat wave, I didn't have air conditioning in my house. I had to put up with just using fans and trying to keep the windows covered. You like snow, but not the cold, though? Yeah. You like the idea of snow. There is so many trades jobs, everybody. It's unbelievable what you can get into. And I don't want to hear the excuse of, oh, well, I'm too old, I'm too young, whatever. I know a fellow that was 50 years old and he started his apprenticeship. 50 years old. And he was a journeyman when he got to be 54. So there you go. It doesn't matter. What matters is getting out there, getting the knowledge, and using it in your job of choice. The best thing is having a good time when you go to your job. You don't want to be miserable going to work. You don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to go there. You want to get up in the morning and be like, hey, right on, let's get there and let's have a good time. Let's get some work done. Let's make it a better, for me, because I'm the industrial mechanic there, I want to make it better. I want to improve. I talk a lot to the operators about what they need to make the place better. I'll talk to the plant manager, what he's willing to spend, what he needs or what he wants to see done. So it's all a collaborative effort. The maintenance talks to the operations and talks to the management to see what they need done and what to make the plant better. Make it run better, make it operate better. Because in my line of work, downtime is bad for me. If I have a plant that has lots of downtime, I look bad. It means I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing my preventative maintenance. I'm not doing my checks. So I strive for zero downtime. If I can have my plant up and running, 95% of the time, that's not too unreasonable. 95%. Some places will go 90% uptime, but 95%, and I'm a happy camper. I look good, and everyone's happy. When the plant's not running, we're not making money, and we're also failing our customer. So it's always a rush if something breaks down in the plant. You always have to rush to get it fixed, because we have a customer that we're hooked up right to with a straight pipeline, and if we don't supply them with product, we get penalized. So yes. Yeah, always spread the word. I try to do it. I try to spread the word as much as I can, encouraging people to get into the trades. Men and women, it doesn't matter. Just get into the trades. Find something you like to do. You're good with your hands. You can do some mechanical work. You like heavy duty stuff. Get into the heavy equipment, heavy duty mechanic. You want the lighter stuff. You get into the instrument technician stuff. Things you don't have to lift that are too heavy. So there's something for everyone. You like working outside, be a carpenter. You want to work inside, maybe be an electrician. You like machinery, be a heavy equipment operator. That is a fun time too. You can learn to operate all sorts of machinery, and if you're good at it, people will always call you. And you'll make a name for yourself in industry. I've been in it long enough. I've been in industry for like 25 years. So you get to know people by name, and then you'll ask for them. You deal with a company, you find an operator that's really good, you'll even ask for them. Yeah, we want to do this job and send this guy because we like how he works and he's a good worker. So that's how it goes. Hopefully you get well known in industry. People will know who you are, and your reputation will precede you. Anyways, I have gone on for quite a bit now. This is usually an unusually long time for me for Trades Talk, but I was glad to have everyone come out and listen. I appreciate you guys so much. You know, and please spread the word. Tell other people that if they like the trades or if they're interested, they could tune in to me, and I'll yammer at them for, you know, an hour or so about, you know, what's going on in industry, and then how to get into them, how to get into the trades, and then show them some of the pictures I have of some of the projects I've been on, things I've encountered. So yeah, I just want to thank everybody that came out. Angry Canadian, you were here, but then you were gone, but that's okay. I'm still glad you came by. Whoopa Troopa, always a pleasure. Genitals, thanks so much for coming by. And Underground, David, great to see you. And Mike from Pacific 414. Thanks for dropping in. Much appreciated. Godzillionaire. You know, it's always good to see our favorite kaiju. And then Comic Relief Crusader, old CRC. It was good to see us stopping in. And I believe that was everyone. And if it wasn't, if you're all the lurking people, I appreciate you too. If you could do me a favor and, you know, slap that like button. It helps me out a bit. Because, you know, people want to be liked. And hopefully it'll tell YouTube that people like me. Gosh darn it, people like me. Yeah, tell your friends, please. Spread the word. Let them know that there's a tradesman on here that just rants and rants about trade stuff. And kind of knowledgeable. Knows what he's talking about. And pretty passionate about it. I enjoy my job. I really do. Being able to repair things and prototyping. Prototyping is one of my favorite things to do. I like doing that for figuring out things using my brain, a little creativity and a little imagination. You can bring that to the trades as well. If you're like, oh, well, I'm just good at imagining things. Well, good, because you need that when you're out there and you have to figure out a problem that pops up. So I know there's other channels out there, and I appreciate you that you've come to my stream. But there's other ones out there that put out good content as well, like Pacific 414 and Blaine's Escape Corner. There's Ronin66 and DJ Ronnie G. There's Brandon the Anime Guy and the Nerdporeal Lifeform. And there's Punkwaddle from Floral from Under a Rock. Hopefully, Whoopa will be getting back into his streaming as well, because we're all looking forward to that. And someone in the chat as well, Comic Relief Crusader. If you guys haven't subscribed to him, well, maybe you should. He's got some good content out there. I have Discord. I have a Discord server. It's called The Shop because all the tradesmen hang out at the shop. Why not? It's where we shoot the breeze after work, have a few beers. I'm on Twitter, or Twatter, whatever you want to call it. It's that thing, that place. I have videos on Bitchute, Odysee, and Rumble because they aren't as heavy-handed as YouTube. So I'm free to post a few ones that aren't edited for YouTube there. So coming up on Saturday is game day, and I am working my way through Astro Boy. Man, this game it's a challenge. You get to a boss, and first of all, you have to find out what to do in order to beat them, and then you have to actually do it. So Takes a little bit. I've been, it's been a constant stream of dying, so I get through it though eventually. And then Sunday. Well, Sunday will be the newest anime chat for February. And I think I'm going to start February off in keeping with tradition. And it's going to be animes about romance for the month of February. Oh, yeah. We want to get some romance for the ladies. So that will be what I'm going to do, checking out different romantic animes. And it will only be 4 of them because there's only 4 weeks in the month, but I hope you will all stop by and see what I've got in store for you. And once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming. You're great people, and I will see you out there on the chat streams. I am Pop Culture Mechanic, and I am signing off.